Well, without saying too much, it's been a beautiful blue day here in Queensland after cyclonic weather that we've had over December and parts of January now. So most people are getting their washing out. I know for myself, the Chinese laundry's had enough today, putting all the clothes out on the washing line. But having said all that, anybody who understands Southeast Queensland would have totally okay with what we just said. But anyway, without further ado, our guest, of course, is in Australia. You can see that on the show. And it's my privilege to bring my co-host, Andrena Forrest, who's sitting here in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's a good morning to you, Andrena.
Morning, Jeffrey. Morning, Jean.
Good morning.
Welcome, everybody. Today it's the 1st of February 2024, so off we go into another month, and the sun is shining here down in the UK. So it's with great pleasure that I welcome Jean on the show today. So thank you for being our guest, and it's an absolute delight. And I'm not sure how or where we're going to go with each show. You just never know, but I know there's lots of things I want to ask you. I know you've got lots of lovely things to share. So like you put in your bio, you're not your average lady, so that sounds good to me. What is average these days, eh? So, one of your gifts is being a medical intuitive, and you're called the medicine woman, and you're a key speaker. You do secret codes to success. So that's just a little nutshell of some of the things you do. Can we start at the very beginning, like where you were born? And I know you mentioned you were born in Kuwait, and all the different steps that have on the journey that have brought you to here now, because I know you go in and out to Egypt a lot. So we got a lot to cover.
That sounds beautiful. Thank you so much. So how did I get to where I am today? The really short version. Yes, I was born in Kuwait. And at that time, being able to see inside the body was totally taboo. And in fact, I was told from the beginning I wasn't wanted. I wasn't wanted because of my culture, because I was a girl. And after I was born, my mum got cancer of the uterus, and so she had to have a hysterectomy. That was totally taboo in my culture. And so I was told, you're wrong. I was pinned with the little evil eye in the village that I lived in to say that she's bad luck, she does wrong things. And so this gift that I have of being able to see inside the body I thought it was wrong and bad, etc. We immigrated when I was 5 years old to Australia in Melbourne, Victoria, and I couldn't speak a word of English. My natural language was Arabic, and then Greek, and then Australian. And so I struggled being here just in general on planet Earth with the language barrier, with the food barrier. I always say that I started to bring hummus into schools. Back then, everyone had these things called Vegemite sandwiches. I don't know what they were. So I had hummus. Now everyone has hummus for school lunch. And I learnt to feel ostracized, weird, different, and all those sort of things. And it was quite tumultuous growing up, from physical, emotional, sexual, a whole lot of abuse. But I didn't realize it was abuse at that stage. And I was not to talk about any of the things that I could see. So today's language, I understand it to be guides, angels, but I call them all dudes. I can see the galactic, I can see inside the body, I can see auras, chakras, but I didn't know what to say, who to say it to, and didn't understand. And at age 16, I became homeless because my mum died on Christmas Day. And it was actually safer to be homeless. And I was nursing her at home by myself, and I couldn't cope. She was 43 and she had a stroke, and she was left with hemiplegia, which means one side of her body couldn't be used, and she became incontinent. And I needed to put her in hospital. I couldn't cope. And when I put her into the hospital, I felt hugely guilty. Because I thought, oh gosh, I can see inside her body. Who do I tell? I know what she needs, but how do I even say it? and she died 2 weeks later in the hospital. I was watching the nursing staff and I thought, you know what? I want to be a nurse. I wanted to give back to the community because I felt guilty, but also I thought there's more to what I can see that I don't understand. So whilst I was nursing, I would write case studies about the patients, not that they knew. So I'd write in-depth notes about what I could see inside the body, what they were diagnosed with, and I could see emotional links and past lives and all this other things that weren't addressed in Western medicine. And I needed to know more because what I could see, I needed to quantify it. My brain was playing tricks on me of, oh, you're just making this stuff up. So I went into pathology. That's where I used to love stabbing people. That meaning blood tests. I loved doing blood tests, loved it, because I could see the veins without pushing them and all the rest of it. And so I'd take blood samples, take them to the laboratory. And what I could see with my innate wisdom, I don't call it third eye, was exactly the same in the microscope. And then I needed to quantify it more. And so I went into autopsies so that I could see what I see, is it the same when we cut open the body? And what I noticed was that there was particular sacred geometry of the body and mathematical codes and things. And sure enough, what I could see was what I could see. But there was a problem with the autopsies. I love to talk. The patient doesn't talk because they're dead. The mortician or the scientist, they're not the personality that talks at all. So I didn't stay there long with that one. And it wasn't my thing. I just needed to see what I could see. So that's the short of it. But at the same time, we'd had a brand new baby and he was born with a lot of medical and birth defects. I knew that when I was pregnant with him, there was something dramatically wrong because I could see, but I didn't know who to tell. After he was born, I was quite suicidal because I didn't know what to do with this sight that I had. What do I do with it? I know all this stuff and who's going to believe me? And so I stole the drugs from work. I'm very open about that. I stole the drugs whilst I was nursing. And I had like the glass of water in my hand with the tablets. And I was about to take them. And then I got a vision of our son who was at childcare, who was only about 2. And it was, don't leave me. So I decided to investigate about the mind health, which wasn't popular back then. Mental health and suicide was all shushed underneath the carpet compared to now. So I decided, well, I can do one or two things. Be around for my son, which my mum wasn't around for me. She died at such a young age. As I said, she was 43, I was 16. Or I didn't know. So I went back to work and I told my nursing girlfriends, and we did something that I loved to do, which was coffee, cigarettes. I know that's not kosher now, but and smut. And smut is when women like to get together and we have a bit of a chat and how's the children, what's the where'd you get the handbag, all those sort of things. And then I said to my girlfriends, okay, as coffee came, which I don't drink anymore, I lit up a cigarette, which I don't do anymore, had a drag of the cigarette, put the sugar on the coffee, ate the froth of the cappuccino, and I just went straight up and said, this is what I see inside your body. Dead silence. Felt like hours. It was probably seconds. I thought, oh, they're going to lock me up. They're going to abandon me. That's it. I'm nuts. I'm crazy. And then it was, do me. Look at my body.
I bet.
And just so that, you know, I'm not clairvoyant, psychic, or medium. I don't know what I am. I just understand I'm very grounded, but I don't call myself any of those things. And it went from that and referrals to, can you teach it? Yes, I can. To, can you accredit the courses? So I did. To the course, I've got my own modality, Millennium Modality. It's accredited. We're in 39 countries around the world. To can you keynote speak about it? So I teach at universities and was on cruise ships and things like that before 2020 and schools, and I have my private things. And then I've written 7 Amazon bestsellers. I've got the only medical intuitive cards in the world because people wanted them. So that's basically, short version, how I got to where I am. But the biggest struggle for me was trying to transcribe it from into everyday language, because like, how do you even say it in today's language? So yeah, that's me.
Right. Okay. So, going back to when you were little, obviously you've come in with that gift when you were little, and you could see all that then, but obviously you had no idea. Yeah. So were any of your family sort of spiritual or had a gift, or so you come in totally you landed on this planet?
You're right. It's landed on the planet. I'm not sure what happened because of the culture thing. This sort of thing is seen as taboo, and so you don't speak it. And because of the age I was at 16, and I was a very young, immature 16-year-old, but I certainly grew up very quickly. My mum died and I became homeless. Nothing was spoken at home, and it was all about shh, because we don't talk about the abuse that's happening or the violence or whatever. It was all very hush hush. And so I never got a chance to ask my mum, are you into it? Like dad definitely wasn't. All I remember was my mum went, 2 things. My mum went and had this thing called a reading from someone. And then she took my handwriting to someone to get that read. And when you're little, what does that mean? But that's all I remember. So I really don't know. But when I look at after having I take spiritual journeys to Egypt called Return to Self, and where we access sacred geometry and all sorts of things. And Egypt and like all those Middle East countries are very similar. Not that they might say so, but they are. Yeah. They've got this divine wisdom as well that's not called psychic or whatever. So maybe it's just something within the heritage or the lineage, or I don't know. And yeah, there was part of me as well that thought, beam me up, Scotty. I'm just don't want to be. Yeah.
So for your love of Egypt, because I mean, Egypt's on my list somewhere along the queue. I'd love to go to Egypt. I've never been, and I sometimes go and stay with my sister overnight. And where she is in the flat that she rents, the bookshelves are full of Egypt, Isis. And when I'm there, I think, oh, I'll have a flashback or a recollection or something, but there's been nothing. And that doesn't mean to say that it's just that for whatever reasons, but yeah, so it's on my to-do list. So you've obviously you've been quite a few times, haven't you?
Yeah, and we're going again this year.
Right. So yeah, so every year you take a group. Do you go once a year or twice a year?
So last year we went twice a year, and the wisdom that comes through isn't just about seeing the anatomy and physiology inside people. I had a crazy awakening that I wrote about in my Sheehan book. And that awakening, like my brain forgot all of this wisdom. And because I wasn't talking about it, you don't use it, you lose it. And my husband was away in the army, and he was away for 4 months. The children were tiny little tots. And I just woke up one day and went, I've got to stop smoking and cigarettes and chocolate. So 3 things on the same day. For 7 days, like it was I drank Turkish coffee from the age of 3, and I used to drink about 8 mugs of it. So going cold turkey, cold turkey on Turkish coffee. And then you've got the nicotine, and then chocolate has caffeine in it as well. So I gave up those 3 things on the 7th of November, all on the same day. And I was violently unwell with this crazy headache. It wasn't a migraine, because I got migraines, but it wasn't a migraine. And for 7 days, I lay on my bathroom floor, hugging the toilet bowl. This is kind of gross, but toilet bowl, vomiting. I had nothing in me, and it felt my crown chakra was blown off. My oldest son was 5, and he was looking after his baby brother, and I couldn't move. And the dog at that time we had, she was just howling. I was having like an ego death as such. I didn't know what was going on. And when I recovered from this thing, I couldn't remember, how do I use a card in an ATM? How do I boil kettle? I just lost my mind as such. And I had to reteach myself. But at that time, I had these crazy, what I now can call downloads of remembering all the ancient wisdom and the tunnels underneath Egypt, related to all the South Pacific islands. I remembered Atlantis and Lemuria. I didn't have any training of this. It was just all these flood of memories, galactic, and where you must take people. I'm thinking, take people for what? I hadn't started any medical intuitive sessions or anything by this stage. And so it was this awakening led me to, you've got to take people here. So I wrote it in a journal and I put it to the side. And I did try to take people 3 times prior. We had ISIS, Taliban, and then 2020, which stopped me. So I went, I'm not doing it now. But then I was at the computer in my office. It was December 2022, and I got a message, like a hit on the head, saying, if you don't take people to teach them about the Atlantic galactic part of Egypt, you will never be able to walk again physically. And I went, okay, I'll organize a group. So I did a Facebook Live. It sold out in 24 hours. That was the start of it. So yeah, when I take people to Egypt, it's not so much the Isis and Ra wisdom. We employ an Egyptologist to tell that part. I take them to sacred spots that we do Atlantis memory, galactic, sacred geometry, all of those sort of things. So yeah, that's the journey. So I teach what's called Mystery School.
So when's your next trip then?
So it's just moved. It was going to be April this year, but when I was in Egypt November, December for a month, and I kept getting, no, wrong time. You have to go in October. So we're now going October. I'm going for probably a couple of months. Clients will be doing a 2-week journey, spiritual journey with me. And the next book I'm writing in June has got all the downloads from Sekhmet. I didn't even know who Sekhmet was. Who's this Sekhmet lion thing? So I'm just so not educated on that, but I just get this information. And so, yeah, that will be very Atlantean galactic orientated. Yes, we said the Sphinx and the pyramid. That's all nice too. But we will be delving into the tunnels underneath the Sphinx. Yeah, so it's pretty special. And everyone that comes back says, oh my gosh, what happened? What was that? And I say to people, please don't come if you think it's a holiday. Please don't come, because it's way more than a holiday. Way more. Yeah.
You obviously need a holiday afterwards to get over that experience.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Well, so did you say this is your 7th book that you're putting together, or you've done 7?
No, 8. So the 6th book is The Secret Codes to Success, which is based on this one. The 7th book, Secret Codes to Manifesting, I wrote that in 9 hours. It just came through really quickly. The Secret Codes to Success book, which is on the screen, that was written in 12 hours. Now, you're talking to someone that's dyslexic as well. So not only did I have the language barrier when I was a child, I'm still dyslexic and things all over the place. So the Secret Codes to Manifesting came through in 9 hours. The next book is related to, now why they're called Secret Codes. So 2022, I start to share that we're in a new millennium, a new paradigm, and it's the year of the Sphinx. and the year of the Sphinx is 2023 to 2040. But gee, that's not a year. You can't count. It's a galactic year. And in this time is these mathematical formulas that you can see behind me. They're not just a pretty picture, but they're actually vortexes and connection to mathematical formulas and things like that. And so the next book is then The Wisdom of Atlantis. I've just been holding back from writing it until people are ready for the truth. So it's a new paradigm, the new paradigm.
Fantastic. Oh, I look forward to maybe reading some of those at some point. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Right. Vic is asking, are you a walk-in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I had all this craziness happen with the awakening, somebody said to me, "You've had a walk-in." And again, I was such a virgin with all of this because I knew all this weird stuff as a kid, was taught to shut down. And I shut it down through smoking and through eating sugar and all sorts of things. And then it was like, oh, okay, so that must be it. I must be this thing that walked in. I left it, my soul left, and something else walked in. But every time I kept writing about it, because I kept journaling, it was, no, that is old paradigm. Nobody can walk in. That's old paradigm. And I'm thinking, I don't even know what I'm writing now. What is this? So I just kept writing. So in the new paradigm, we understand that we're actually everything, but it was the loss of ego. Ego meaning the limited mind. And it's like my brain has to be completely whitewashed, just right. And then I had to rewrite the story. And so I had to retrain everything. So great question, because somebody actually said, oh, I think you've had a walk-in, but it wasn't. So, yeah, good question.
Yeah. Because I often laugh if I go past hairdressers or something like that, and they've always got walk-ins welcome.
Yes.
And I always have a little giggle to myself. I think, well, do you know what you're putting out there? But, yeah.
I do like that. I've seen those signs.
Yeah,
that's so good. So good.
Yeah. So, right, what we got? Because I noticed like your book and your cards, and it's very pink.
Yes. Why the pink? My husband says, oh, your favorite color is pink. No, it's not. My favorite color is gold. Lots of pink. The pink color is related to when I would look at patients, I would notice that the chakras changing colors. We're used to the old paradigm of the heart chakra being like a green, but the ascended chakra is green pink to a magenta pink. And then the color pink, and a lot of this paradigm is knowing a couple of the codes, which I'll share. One code is, it's so simple. I am lovable, loving, love. So simple. And so the color of love is the pink. The other code is it always works out. And so the pinks are related to, okay, return to love. That's part of the code. And when we're in that love energy, we don't have disease, we don't have monkey mind, everything works out. So that's the short version of pink. And no, it's not my favorite color. Gold's my favorite color.
Okay, so what else is there? So who gave you the title of modern medicine woman?
Yeah. So it was actually the title Walking, Talking MRI. I had a client, and he just did a session last week, actually. This client came along, and he was extremely skeptical of me. Thought all this sort of woo-woo was just a load of collywobble. And his wife at the time said, look, you're having these crazy headaches. Western medicine can't find it. I've heard about this lady called Sheehan. She's a medical intuitive. What is that? He came in so skeptical. He came in with his arms crossed, not wanting to believe, and what a load of collywobble. He said other things, but we'll say that nicely. And so I saw that he was closed off. I said, look, I've got a nursing background. I'm going to scan your body. It sounds really weird. And I'm writing this information down, and I brought through without sharing because of confidentiality.
Yeah.
I shared this, and this, and this, and that, and you're having this and this and this, and it's because of this and this. What are you? A walking, talking MRI?
Yeah.
And I said, spot on. I love to walk. I love to talk. And yes, I scan like an MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, etc. And then it was my business coach that said, you know what? You're just like a modern medicine woman. And I said, do you know what? That's a beautiful name. I'm going to use that because I've modernized this ancient stuff. And because I generally do keynote speaking to people that don't even know what a beautiful crystal is. Oh my gosh, or galactic or woo-woo. It's like, well, they seem to get around modern medicine woman, but it's all the ancient wisdom of medicine woman and shaman and all that stuff. I just don't use those words as such. So yeah.
Right. So what I was going to ask is, obviously you've got this amazing gift, and
Yeah.
So when we're talking now, so like, just for example, if you're talking to me, can you actually see in me now, or do you have to switch it on? Do you say, right, okay, let me, so have you got this in your face, so to speak, all the time that you see?
Yes, I do.
I don't mean that rudely, but
no,
you know what?
I do. It's beautiful, beautiful. It never switches off. So like I can see your beautiful jumper. I'll be walking along the beach where I live, and I'll see people in their gym clothes or bathers or whatever they've got on, and I can see that, and I can see inside. I just don't say anything. And it's the same as today. I took a call of an inquiry about having a session, and they said, oh, I'm interested in having a medical intuitive session. I said, sure. Well, I don't know the person, I'm talking on the phone, and I can see directly inside as though I've just gone straight in. Some people call it remote viewing and whatever. Look, there's no name. I'm quite grounded, aren't I? I just X-ray it. When I do consults, sometimes it can be very medical, but legally in Australia, I can't diagnose, prescribe, or treat. But I say education, and then they have to investigate. And sometimes it can be really, really like quite spiritual of related to past lives or galactic or lifetimes or whatever. So as I said, some people call it remote viewing. Well, to me, it's not. I can see straight in. It's not remote or anything. But that's part of the new book, is understanding nothing is distant, nothing is separate. So I can see all the, as my children used to call it, gooby bits inside the body all the time.
So have your children inherited some of your gifts?
They have. I've been very blessed that they have been on this journey with me and would come to all of my events and speaking gigs and on cruise ships and everywhere I've spoken. So they've seen that they're accepted to speak this way. My youngest son, he's now 24, he was able to look deeply within animals, and he used to pick up, we have a snake here in Australia called red belly black. It's one of the most poisonous ones. He would just pick it up and say, Mummy, this needs a healing. And I'd say, okay, sweetie, you just do a healing and pop it down. But the snake never attacked him. And then my oldest son, he came into the world with a lot of birth defects and medical problems and autism and stuff. And he can see inside people, but with his autism, he doesn't relate to people, doesn't know how to communicate it very well. So, yeah, they have it. But also they, as I said, they grew up with it, and I never squashed it. I just said, whatever's comfortable. The 24-year-old's not very comfortable talking about it anymore. He sort of has moved away, but I just think he'll come back in his own time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was a medium and a healer, so we had all sorts going on. When we were little, and I shut things down because it used to freak me out. We used to have trumpets going around the room. the silver trumpets with the luminous paint on, and people used to go into trance and transfiguration, all sorts of things. But yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So let me think. Right. So it like to be able to see, because I love to help animals, and for me,
Yes.
I wish somehow I'm doing my best to open these channels to communicate more and be more in alignment, and all of these, as you go along, you're doing more and more, you're
Yes.
putting away and freeing yourself up. So obviously you've got this amazing gift, but do you find times, is there times when it's too much, or you see things and it sort of makes you think, oh my gosh, or
Yeah, great question. I think because I have got a nursing background, because I basically, the advantage of being homeless and going into nursing was my generation of my age. I lived in nurses' quarters, so I had food and accommodation, things like that. So the nursing taught me to, I think, handle what I could see.
yeah,
And so having the medical side of nursing pathology and autopsies, and the intuitive side, that helped me to see, when I'm in that zone, or when I was in nursing zone, I dealt with things because I just felt I had a purpose and a drive and a duty. And it's afterwards that occasionally I'll take it to heart, because I'm still human. And that's more with children and animals. When I was recently in Egypt, I met this fabulous vet. I'd gone with an intention of, I want to help animals. And I met this random vet, not coincidence, that was Swedish and is volunteering. And some of the animals there are not treated very well. It's a bit different from how we treat them in Australia. And they whip them until like their eyes are hanging out and all sorts of stuff. My mind went into, just got to do what I got to do. But then there was part of me afterwards of like, oh, but that's the human part of me. But when I'm doing my role, the passion and the love for a human, well, it's not even just, it's human, plants, animals, the whole lot, is so profound. But on the animal thing, I denied seeing animals. I said I could do it, but I denied it. The dog I've got at the moment, Zach, he was a previous dog, Lucky, and she said as she was dying from a tick-related paralysis, I'll be back and you will do animals. And I went, no, I won't. So 10 years later, we got a dog, Zach, and he said, I'm back, do the animal. So he's been on front covers of magazines and all sorts of things. He's been quite a star in himself, but he was the one that said, you've got to release animal medical tuition as well. Don't leave us behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for animals, for those of us that haven't got that ability or opened it or what have you, you don't know what that trauma that animal's suffering, and I often think, oh God, anyway.
Yeah.
And it may not, that may not be my role to be communicating with animals. You just don't know what's so when you're because I know you're a global speaker, is this mostly around Australia, or do you well, I think you said you were a global speaker, so obviously
Yes. Yes. So
Australia
yeah,
and Philippines.
yes, Australia and wherever. 2020 had me, like everybody else, locked down in Australia, and thank goodness for Zoom, because it meant, oh well, I sit in my home-based office now and go global that way. But I'm back out again, and as I said, Mexico in a week, Vietnam, Egypt. I was to go to Machu Picchu, but I've decided not to do it this year. It'll be next year. And possibly Vanuatu. It's just trying to fit everything in Australia and overseas. So yeah, I do it globally.
Yeah. Right, secret codes to success. I know we've seen some pictures. So how
Yes.
did that come about? And is that started in book form, and that came through. So, so as you've written each one, is there more and more to help people to be more successful, be more
Sure,
empowered, and be more of who they are?
sure. In the writing of all my books that I've done, they actually relate to, they relate to this, that this is actually, I'll show you, it's actually a 10-point Merkaba. And a 10-point Merkaba is a pyramid within a pyramid. And if I take it and squash it against my screen here, it looks like a Star of David. And these are actually seats of consciousness, doors to, I call them doors to houses of consciousness of awakening. And this is the ego awakening and ego death. And this is what came through chronically, big time, when I had my awakening, that each number relates to a different space and place. Now, why is it called secret doors? Secret codes to a success. It's a code meaning a mathematical formula. Like if you're pushing a code, like to get into a house or whatever, 2789, you suddenly can open the door. Same with these codes that help people. Like this is all within us, but has been forgotten. And it was very much related to Atlantis and Turin and galactic and all those sort of things. And each number means a something. And when, I'll just give an example, I'm 57, and each of these numbers keeps going around in 13-year cycles. So once we've done 13, we go back up here, 14, 15, 16, keep going around and around. Or 57 is a number 5 because I've gone around a couple of times. I know what happens in a number 5 consciousness. So when I'm in the 5 aspect here, it's all about freedom. And so freedom is of the mind. And because I know what number I'm in, then I cannot have anything but success. And then I go to the other code, the opposite number. What is it? I know where my children are. So my son is 24, he's here, so that's what he'll be experiencing. My other son is 30, my husband is. So that's where the success part comes in, of we know where we are. So the old thing of a little glass ball and I can't tell your future thing, this is the future thing, that this is actually a sphere. One mind, one heart. And when you understand the 10-point Merkaba, it's knowing all of your outcomes. And so the code to success is understanding I can actually move away, I can clean the slate, I can rewrite my story. And one of the secrets is if that thought is not loving, it is not mine to own. All around us is what I call a quantum soup. We're all living in a pot of soup. And over here is the thought of you're dumb, the one that's stupid, I'm really clever, I can earn money, I'm not good at math, whatever the thoughts are. And we unconsciously go, let's pretend my cards are a thought coming in. The thought is, I'm dumb. Oh, I'll just take that one. We unconsciously take that thought. Where'd that thought come from? And it's not about blaming anyone. But this is understanding if that thought is not loving, it's like a tennis match. You can ping it off like this and say, nope, 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 nope. Because in consciousness, there's only one thought. I am lovable, loving, love, love. And it always works out. That's it. And so that's a really short version of the process that people go through in the book. It's like an overnight read or read it on a short plane trip, but it's the processes and it's taking them back through the consciousness, taking them back to go, okay, who are you? Remember, anything is possible. And that's part of the 10-point Merkaba, is understanding anything is possible. And so it's not the success of I'm a millionaire, I've got 5 children, they're all illusions that we've played in this third dimension. This is 5th to the 13th dimension of, well, what is success and who gets to define it? is you as the individual. So when you go through the awareness, it's like when somebody said you were dumb or you can't do, that's not your thought to own. You are a success if you realize, well, I did well. So it's actually taking people, all of this work is taking them through a journey to remember their activations to assist humanity. And it's to that next evolution and the next paradigm of the 5th to the 13th dimension. It's just we play this 3rd dimension along at the same time. So does that make sense? Because that's pretty full on in itself as a question.
Yeah, no, it does. So if I wanted to work out like where I am now on the chart,
Yes.
I mean, or if people wanted to do the same, how would we do? Obviously, that's in book 1.
No, this is door 5. So all the books are called doors because they all relate to one of the doors. So, for example, do you want me to do yours?
Well, all right then. Go on then.
Yeah. And please know that whenever I do anything public, I make sure it's confidential. If I see anything, I don't actually say it because confidentiality is a big thing. So how old are you, Andrena?
No, you say, how young are you?
Oh, how beautifully young are you? How's that?
On paper, I'm 73.
See, you're only young. So 73, we could say you're only 8 years old. There you go. So when we go around the cycle.
No, I think I'm 74. I'm going the other way. I've deleted the aging and the death program, and I'm going in reverse. So I think I'm 74. Sorry.
That's beautiful. I love it. Well, either or, whichever one you want. So as I go around the circle, it keeps going the numbers. So we've got 65, 67, 8, 9, 7, etc. 74 is a number 9. And so there's different processes in each 13-year cycle. Now you'll notice number 13, all the religions say 13's bad, it's the devil, but it's actually the number of the genius right in the middle. Right when we're right inside here, we are the genius. And so here in number 9, or I should go back, 1 to 13, we learn in the feminine. And so it's much easier. Would you like to do that? Come on, sweetie. 14 to 26, we learn in the masculine. It's a lot harsher. High school, get out and get a job. Then from 27 through to 39, we learn to integrate. Do we like it this way or this way? Mathematically, life begins at 40, and it does. It's a new beginning. So 40 through, excuse me, to 52, we remember who we are. 53 to 65 is the awareness of that's where they are, they can have the lessons. 66 through to 78, that evolutionary process, and this was taught in the Mayan culture, Aztec, Incan, Atlantis, America, they were taught like the, whatever you want to call them, mystics, shamans, whatever, taught evolutionary process. In that cycle, it's all about being in the state of love. It's just, I will only do things that are for me, that are loving and loving for others. And then we add on your age, that number 9 is letting go physically in this lifetime. If that doesn't be love or act love or whatever, it's finished, move it on. And so when the person knows their number, which is done by the age they're at, it's like having great insight to go, well, there are all the things to look for. So me being a number 5, if it's not going to give me personal freedom in my mind, the answer is no. I'm just not doing it at all. Did that, like, again, I'm keeping it confidential because we're streaming. Yeah.
Yeah. So Diane says that she'd been born with that ability to help others, and she can use it to help others too. So
beautiful. How good's that?
And I think with more and more having an awareness of within themselves, I think now more than ever, they're, I don't like the word awakening. I think they're just things are just opening up for the people, and they're questioning things, and or why am I seeing this, or what am I feeling? There's much more changes happening for people.
Yes.
And like, we're all here to help each other. At the end of the day, there's only love, there's nothing else. And this is what we're about, how we can help people in our daily lives, eh? So I
Yes.
forgot what I was. Oh yeah, so so more and more people have sort of got these abilities, but they may have been closed down, or they may have been didn't know how to express. And so, but there's so much out there now, in different magazines, and
Yes.
everybody's doing a free Zoom call and a free class, and all there's so much out there now that it's giving people, if like seeing auras, if they're seeing colors, they could Google it and then maybe do a Zoom or a class to open up and understand what's happening for them.
Yes. Well,
So it's great
you're right.
awakening.
It's not just awakening. It's just it's like the word human. Hu meaning light and man. We're physical and metaphysical. Metaphysical meaning the unseen. But we've been taught in our paradigm and old ways, not a good or bad, just different, that if you see this way, you're totally woo. Like, I didn't do psychiatric nursing, but I know that every now and again I'd have to go to the psych unit because they were short-staffed and we were well-staffed. And when I talked to those patients, really, should they have been drugged because they were seeing stuff like me?
Yeah.
So it's more acceptable of, this is just the norm. And that's why I have the pleasure and privilege of keynote speaking to mainstream that know nothing about this. When they learn these two, they're quite blown away. So yeah, I just love that. And I show them pet rocks, crystals, all the time. And they're like, what does this do? So yeah, the world's ready just to be totally open to all the magic. Yeah.
So when you're doing your public speaking, what is the thing that grabs people the most when you're talking and when you're sharing? What have you found that people really tune into you and ask you more about, more than anything else?
So generally speaking, when people, not just the keynote speaking, but generally when they ask, and what do you do? And I think, oh, here we go. And I say, so I'm known as the walking, talking MRI. What? It gets a conversation going. And I said, look, I'm not psychic, clairvoyant or medium, but I can see inside your body. I don't know how I see. It opens up the door, and people will natural things to say, can you see inside me now? And they cover themselves up, which is so cute.
And cover their bits.
Oh, they do, all the bits. And I say yes. When I'm keynote speaking, I'm asked to come in to lecture about something. So corporate businesses love these two because they align it to, they'll get more profits and blah, blah, blah. But once they start the journey, they go, oh, it's not just about profits, is it? No, it's not about just profits. So they call me in for particular things. When I've spoken at universities for doctors and nurses and things about there's more to health than a Panadol and chop off a leg. And there's the emotions, and then there's a thing called past lives, and there's a thing that what I call a story, and that this is connected to this and all that. So it depends on where I'm speaking, what they asked me to speak about. And my role is to just push a little button and see if something switches on for them. And they do. And I remember being asked to go speak in Singapore for an hour to be flown back again to an IT mob. And I thought, I don't teach anything about IT. What do you want me to teach? How to use your intuition. Okay, but they're IT. What is it? They're using their intuition for IT. I don't have that gift. No. They need to be able to connect to their intuition related to people, to get, not the IT. So yeah, it was just teaching. What's that little secret voice that's within? You don't need to be clairvoyant, clairsentient, clair anybody. So yeah, it depends on what I've been asked to speak about. But it all ultimately leads back to secret codes to success, medical intuition. Because they say we own one thing, the body. That's it.
So I think you said the pictures behind her in book 5. Would you advise people to start from book 1?
And look, what again, this is where the intuition comes. For me, intuition is a superpower. But we do not need to be like Superman and wear our jocks on the outside. We can wear our normal clothes. When they go on my website, or if I'm speaking and I've got my books array, if they're drawn to door 1, which is personalities, if they're drawn to door 4, which is bite me program, what I always say, just which one should I get? I don't know. What are you drawn to? Is it the title, the color? If you open it up and there's something that like, and I say to people, just open it up. There might be a message. Okay, what's the message here? A human being is part of a whole called by the universe. Part of, I don't know. Maybe just go with what you're drawn to. The books are written as a journey, though. Door 1, Millennium Children. It's about us. It's a reference that people can go back to, because ultimately all of this work is about understanding we are loved no matter what has been done, we've done, etc. Door 2, what are the life tools? Door 3, connect with sacred geometry. Door 4, understand what diseases are. So Bite Me book, I was really angry. I was so, like me being Arabic, I can have a temper. And I was angry, passionate, and I was seeing children being fed mother and bull and Coke and whatever else in their bottles. So I went, right, I'm going to eat really badly. I'm going to eat wheat and gluten and sugar and crappy food. I purposely put on, it was meant to be 20 kilos, but I put on 21. I created a disease, and then I started to clean up my act and do medical intuition to heal my body. And I wrote about, what are these diseases? What do they mean? So it might be that. It might be the secret code. People are just drawn to what they need to. But each book is done according to the processes of evolution. And so those that follow me and continue the journey, what's the next book? Come on, we want the next book. What's the next level? Come on, let's go. And even people read my first book was the Jean Sheehan book, even though it's door 13. People read it and said, I don't know what you put in it, but something awoken within me and I could feel the energy. That's my intention too, behind the scenes as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is the key, isn't it? Is something in that book for somebody awakens something.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What about the children that are coming through now? Because we know some of the children are coming in with amazing gifts, and you can see their eyes and.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So have you had sort of much experience with people with their children?
They were my books. They're my sons. But I also say, I forgot. I think it was Lewis Carroll. Oh no, he wrote Alice in Wonderland. Lee Carroll. No, I can't remember. Someone wrote a book called Indigo Children, and one of the lessons I had was it's not just recently. Like you, me, Jeffrey, all of us would have been one of the Millennium Children. They weren't my generation X.257 or whatever we're up to now. It's all of us, but then there's some personalities that never close down, and they'll go on to share. And because today a lot of people are open with it, like I've seen little facial roller crystal things at local shops and things like supermarkets and Kmart's and stuff. Everyone's like open to it. That these kids, they tune in. If they know you're open to it, they'll talk straight out and say, "Hey, lady," or "Hey, man," and share. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So where are you going now at this young stage of your life? What else would you like to achieve? And have you got, obviously I know the next book is coming, but is there many more books after that, or
Yes.
What else would you like to achieve?
So my whole passion, my mission statement of the business is how can I create value for people? And so things that I achieve, whether it be products and books, and it's because clients say, I don't understand. Can you make a poster? Can you make, so when I used to describe all this, I didn't understand. Can you take it out of your head, Jean, and put it into a poster so I can understand, or a book or whatever? So I love creating for my clients. Definitely the 13 books, because then that finishes that cycle. Taking people on the journeys again around the world, especially the Egypt one. That is just such an honor and a privilege as they go through that process. And I hope that more people come. In my bigger picture, look, I feel very blessed that I had this picture when I was a little girl of I wanted to be able to fly and be a teacher of this stuff, but I didn't know how to say it. I'm actually living it, eating it, breathing it now. And I feel so blessed doing this. I don't say I'm on purpose, because I say we're all on purpose. If you eat an apple, you're on purpose. If you drink water, you're on purpose. If you empty your bladder, you're on purpose. For me, it's very much, how else can I serve people? What else do you require? And to get people back to from feeling the pain, hurt, loss, separation, if we can have them understanding the codes, I am lovable, loving, love, and it always works out. If that thought's loving, not loving, it's not my tone. If I can get the world to understand that, then I've done my role for this lifetime. That's my job.
Got it. Amazing. What was I going to ask you then? So if people want to book a session with you to find out how their little bodies are doing or what help they need, so do they just book you on your website?
They can. There is a 6-month waiting list, only because I balance between that and keynote speaking and writing books and magazine articles and things. But yeah, just go through the website and we'll connect with them, me or my team. We'll connect with them. We'll make a time and we can do it on Zoom. They can be in the comfort of their own home. But what an absolute pleasure to connect. Or they can come and learn this and do it themselves.
Yeah, because you're doing it in Noosa. Is it next weekend?
Yeah. Oh, I've been such a naughty girl, Andrena, because one of the courses that people love is the Ascension Chakra course, where you learn about diseases in every chakra. And I haven't taught it since December 2021. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've been so naughty. I didn't offer that. That's not adding value. So yeah, we've got it on the 10th and the 11th of February at Noosa Sunshine Coast, the Ascension Chakra Practitioner course. You get to experience it, you get to learn it, you get to then go out and help other people, which, yeah, so I was a very naughty girl not offering that. Oh my gosh. So we've got a super special on that one, a 50% off because I was a naughty girl.
Right. So what's happening here? I can see everybody led on.
So this is, this is part of medical intuition. So Ascension Chakra is one aspect. This is the 8-day immersion. And as you go through the process of medical intuition, just like my crazy awakening of 7 days, this is 8 days without having the horrific vomiting and headaches and stuff that I had. And this is where we do the teleporting. And astral traveling, etc., to gather more information. So we do a special crystal gridding and, as I said, teleporting, which is pretty significant. Yeah.
Yeah. If it wasn't quite so far away, I'd be interested, but it's just a little bit too far at this moment.
It is a little bit far away.
So are you fully booked on that one?
Those dates are to be released. We're just waiting for the venue to get back to us, because it starts with an 8-day immersion, but it's a 12-month program. And each module, we do medical astrology, how do the planets affect you, personality, animal, so a sacred geometry. So it's one module a month so that people can keep adding to their wisdom to help support people.
So is there any other courses that you're running, excuse me, besides that one at the moment?
Just at the moment, we've got Ascension Chakra, the seasonal manifestation, and Mexico and Egypt. I'm just trying to balance that's public because I do a lot of stuff privately as well.
Yeah,
And so they're the ones on the website at the moment. Just when I keynote speak, because they employ me for that, I can't put it public out. But all the other ones should be out very soon. Very soon.
Well, they
Yeah.
just need to follow you or connect with you
Yes.
or website.
Yes. Yes.
It's funny, like the intuitive, because I picked up a book, or I bought a book in Australia years ago called The Secret Language of Your Body. And so
Yes.
I always sort of use that as a Bible when anybody says they've got anything, or, you know, there's different issues going on, and you think, because not everybody's got the ability to tune into their body, and it's obviously being in that quieter space to receive the guidance, the signals, the messages. But in the book, it would be even like a split in your fingernail or something,
Yes.
and I'd read it out and I think, oh my God, that's spot on.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
and it is learning the language of your body. So, what tips would you give anybody now that would like to tune in more to their body or to their inner wisdom?
Yeah.
And I know, before you talk about that, I know I listened to it was a link you sent me, or a replay, and you were talking about supreme moments.
Oh, yes.
And I thought, yeah, that makes total sense. So I'm sat here having my cup of tea, and then I got my shower. Well, I've got a few things bothering me at the moment, and so I'm in the shower, and I'm, oh my God, how am I going to deal with this? And and I thought,
Yes.
stop. I'm not having a supreme moment. I'm in the shower. I can
Yeah.
feel the water. I'm rubbing the soap on my body and all of that. And it made me think, it's so easy, when things are happening, instead of focusing on like the main thing that you're doing in this moment now, as opposed to worrying about, whatever's going on. And that, so for me, that reminded me yesterday. So thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And that brings up part of it because I used to teach mystery school, so all the remembering, this is all mystery school. And then I was guided, don't teach anymore until 2023, and then let rip, just share all of it, and then stop teaching again 2040. So I've got a couple of years. And so a lot of the things that I share and speak about are mystery school, the ancient wisdom of the schools. And so one of the things people always say, Jane, can you write a book on medical intuition about all the diseases? Nope. What? Nope. But it would be so popular. Nope. Because what happens is when I teach this, it's you find that mystery and moment. And I really, really praise and respect all those. I think there's Annette Noontil, Louise Hayes, Ina Segal. There's a few people that have written books and things. Here you can see on our courses, we have a little bit of crazy fun. Oh, I've still got the same dress on. A bit of crazy fun on our courses. And I'm just teaching them how to dance the Zumba. What's that got to do with good intuition? Like, it's all about fun. That it's mystery school. And when we have those moments of understanding, we can actually tap into our own body. But we don't take those supreme moments and go, what happened? Oh, I bumped my thumb. How do I feel? Emotions are integral to intuition. They're our GPS, and we get insights all the time. Or I say to people, what happened 2 weeks before this session? We booked a session today. What happened 2 weeks before? Oh, nothing. No, go back to 2 weeks ago. I had this car accident. What were you thinking at that time? because there is that supreme moment. And so anything to do with the body, yep, sure, look up books, or you can use the cards. Everyone that uses cards says, oh my God, that's so spot on. Because it comes with a book, and well, it has its own little book and everything in it as well. And because I say to them, in the little book
are in there?
72.
Oh.
Yeah, and so that book is modules 1, 2, and 3 of medical intuition, right in there. That we all have an answer, but it's your answer as well. What does you feel from it? But we don't take that moment. We bump our finger and, oh, I've got to keep going. Yeah, so it's just, shh, what's going on? Because when you bump your thumb, or a client of mine, while I was in Egypt, her finger, she asked for a remote session while I was like, yep, sure, okay. What was it about? All the rest of it. Well, commitment. And when we get married, we put a ring on the commitment finger. Used to be you put a ring on for engagement and swap it over, but she wasn't being committed to herself. So snap, and we break it to break being committed to everyone else. So if we listen to ourselves, we actually do get the answers. But part of the training is opening up that paradigm again. You've already got it within you. Just have some fun opening it up.
So is anybody like doing your courses? Like, just say I do your course and I haven't got the awareness to see in the body, and through doing that opens up for people.
Look, I just, like, we have lots of tears and laughter of realizations. And I remember, I'll call this lady Gertrude, just again, confidentiality. And I said, okay, I want you just to the clients' heads were on the massage table, place your hands on their head. And she squealed like a pig. It was like, and I said, what's the matter? I can feel my hands have gone into their brain, and I can feel the brain. I said, just breathe. That is how you're meant to get the info. Other people can see it, smell it, taste it, vision it, whatever. Just everyone is different. Everyone is different. And then you're going to get to a stage where it's not a vision. You are there in the quantum and can get the information direct, but it's not channeled, and it's not an archangel or a guide or whatever. You are in the quantum straight up. So yeah, everyone does get it in their own time, and that's the main thing. It's not pressure of, by the end of this module you have to get it, because that doesn't put you in that supreme moment either.
Fabulous.
I just want to interrupt there. I just played a little video clip there, but it's got a soundtrack to the back of it. So I haven't played any of the music purely because YouTube and Facebook have a little copyright thing, and they even when you had the show, they shut you down and remove the show. So I just want to let people know why I wasn't playing the audio in that particular segment there.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Okay, well, I think we've covered quite a bit. So is there anything else that you would like to share before we close today?
I think just the secret to success. If you remember nothing, and even if you think, oh, that crazy lady, the walking, talking Mario, whatever it is, that crazy lady, remember that two of the codes, and one is, it always works out. These are mathematical things to say we're right on par, even though when we're in the human dimension, third dimension, and we think, oh my gosh, life is so crazy, it's not working, and blah, blah, blah. Life, it always works out. That's number one. And number two is, if that thought is not loving, it's not mine to own. So simple, so simple. And they were the teachings of Atlantis, ancient Egypt, and not Egypt of Isis Ra. There was that, then there was the Nubian Egypt, then there was Atlantis, and then there was the galactic, which is what we go and experience on my journeys and things. And yeah, just those two things. It always works out. That thought's not loving, it's not mine to own. And live your best life.
Fabulous. Well, it's been an absolute delight to have you on the show. So thank you. So I'm totally on board with everything you said, and yeah,
thank you.
look forward to looking at your cards or your books somewhere along the track, and maybe a trip to Egypt. So who knows?
Oh my gosh, yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, it's been on my
Oh,
to-do
actually,
list.
Greece. It's Greece. Haven't spoken about Greece.
That was last year as well.
So where do you go up? You go up to Mount Olympus and camp up there, because you can camp up there, you know. Where you go up to Thessalonica, you go that was monastery there, or you go to Delphi, or
last year was Santorini and Samos. Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in this week to another weekly of Dreaming in Your Dreams. Same time, same place next week. We've got another amazing guest next week. So thank you, Jean. It's been an absolute delight.
Thank you so much, Andrena and Jeffrey. It's been a delight to be here. I'm really honoured.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Brilliant. Thank you. Love you.